Well, Sam Ogina, who's just returned from the Kenya-Somali border, now joins us in studio with more details of that story. Very horrific. I'm just curious to know, you did say that business as usual is back to usual in Mandera, but how are people feeling about it?
Well, you can call it an easy calm, because what the feeling is on the ground is these guys are neglected, because Somali border is just a few meters away, so to speak. And that is, from the story, that is the manned border. But it just stretches a few meters, and then after that it is a porous border all the way to Ethiopia and down south to the Kenyan coast.
Let's go back to the details, because I think there's a lot of confusion, even as we said in our intro earlier, of what exactly happened. So can you give us a timeline? So the bus leaves from Mandera to Nairobi at 4 a.m.
Yeah, it leaves Mandera to Nairobi at 4 a.m. and then it goes, because the route dictates that they sleep in Garissa at around 9 in the evening.
Yeah.
But on this day, that is Saturday morning, before getting to Arabiya town at a place called Umar Jilao, that is, say, 45 kilometers from Mandera town. That is probably after 45 minutes of traveling, they encounter the first ambush. They are flagged down by a group of guys who are donned in military regalia, combat gear full from top to bottom, balaclavas in their face. So you can't really tell who these guys are, because they're covered on their faces and they're all in full military gear. So they're flagged down, they're flashed with torches, but they move ahead.
They don't stop at this point?
They don't stop at this point.
Okay.
The next choke point, that's when they were shot at. A few rounds were fired. One got into the bus and actually killed one person instantly. But still, the bus driver decides, let me move forward. But now, the third choke point, that's when they met this group of insurgents, and one person was holding an RPG towards the bus.
Just describe what an RPG is for
an
the
RPG is a rocket-propelled grenade. Yeah. So it's fired and then goes straight ahead.
So the bus driver at this point realizes that there's no way out.
Yeah.
I have to stop.
I have to stop.
At which point he does.
He does. And then before four guys get in, when he stops, this group goes to the driver and tells him, so you think you can run away and hide? He's slapped, he's told to get out of the bus, and then they were having some sort of spade or something, and he's also kicked with it. And then he was asked, well, tell your people to open the door into the bus. The conductor, the mechanic who was seated just at the front refused to open the door. The driver was told, you go open the door. He complied, because really he was cornered. There's no way he was going to turn it down. He complied. He opened the door, four guys got in and asked everyone to move at the back of the bus.
So that's what you were describing in your story. And Richard Tinina did mention this as well, the scattered clothes.
Yes, exactly.
This is from that confusion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Four guys get in. The other guys now escort
all right.
the bus.
And so, Sam Ogina, the question is, if this bus was headed to Nairobi, how then was it found on a road that leads directly to Somalia?
So when these guys accosted the bus and they commandeered it and diverted it into a route that leads actually right into Somalia, they get the bus into that route. And they escorted it like 200 or so meters. And then it got stuck because it had rained that previous night. So they asked the mechanic, we need to get this bus out of here. We need to keep moving, because you guys thought you are going to be smart. Now you're going to do everything that we tell you to do. He got a spade, tried digging the bus out of the mud. The driver again started the bus, but he couldn't. So it spun and looked towards the direction it was coming from. They insisted they want this bus out of the mud, but that couldn't happen at all.
And at this point, this is when the worst happened. This is when the tragedy began.
So, remember I told you there were 3 choke points.
Yes.
On the main road. There was another group on this particular diversion that they were being taken into. Now, it had now arrived at the scene.
So a fourth group of armed militants.
Yes.
So in total, how many attackers do the witnesses say there were?
Well, the witnesses say it was dark, but they give a rough figure. Some say 14. The person I spoke to said they were around 50.
So obviously a lot of confusion. It's dark. They're
Yes.
scared.
So they couldn't give the exact number of attackers or
All right.
insurgents who are at the scene.
Okay.
But
Now,
they say there were just many.
and the details that Sam Ogina is about to describe from this point on are very horrific. So we do advise that if you don't think you can take them, this would be a good point to walk away from your TV screen. But at this point, the militants decide that they've pretty much,
So
they're done with the
what
victims.
I think the militant strategy was to get this bus cross the Kenya-Somali border into Somalia. But now it is stuck, it's not moving. The fourth group has arrived. So they said, okay, we are wasting time, we don't have enough time. Let's just finish our business here. And that's when they started. They asked women first to come out of the bus. The women came out. They were now selected according to their faith. You'll be looked at using a spotlight because it was dark. If they thought you were Christian or something, they'll tell you to move to a different section.
Based on nothing else but your physical appearance.
Physical appearance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they did. After they were done with the women, they called the men out. Same procedure. After now the selection based on appearance, there was one who was speaking fluent Swahili.
One of the attackers.
One of the attackers. He asked, and who among you here is Muslim? Two guys rose up and they were asked, how many prayers are there in the morning and in the evening? They answered correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They were told, I'm sorry guys, you don't belong to that group, move to this other side.
Mm-hmm.
So this group of 28 that now remained, they were told, move at the front of the bus. They complied. They were told to lie down. So in this confusion, one person said, I'm not going to die watching. He took off and ran into the bush.
Do we know what happened to him? Did he survive?
Well, they fired at him, but I think he managed to escape.
Okay.
Yeah, according to the witness who told me, who recounted the ordeal.
Yeah.
Because after the incident, they couldn't find him. So that one managed to escape.
28 are left lying face down in front of the bus.
Yes. And this is where now the tragedy is. You are lying down, knowing nothing that is going to happen to you, and then they open fire to each and every person. And it was headshots on 25 people. Headshots. I was told 3 were hit in the abdomen.
Mm-hmm. And all of them were obviously fatal shots.
They were fatal shots.
Now, this situation that you're describing is obviously very difficult to even imagine. Everyone in the studio, if I can just describe it, is silent. It's dead silent here. And I'm just curious to know the survivors, the ones who managed to survive this ordeal. How are they doing?
Well, first of all, after now the shooting, they told now the survivors, you can get into the bus and leave. When we come back, we don't want to find you here. And they scattered all over. Now these are the insurgents, they scattered.
Mm-hmm.
And then after scattering, of course, because of shock and also the confusion, the survivors also flee the scene, taking nothing. They just flew or flown.
And how long did they take before security or before they got help? I'm sorry, we're running out of time. So
well, this was around, say, 5-ish in the morning. The first group of security officers, it was a chief and his policeman. They got there at 7:30.
At the scene?
At the scene, walking. Not that they were using a vehicle or something, no, they were walking. So when they got to the scene, they had to call in the immediate or the closest police station. That was at La Fay police station.
All right, Sam, you still haven't answered the question, which is the survivors. Are they okay psychologically? They saw people who they know.
Survivors are traumatized. Even the person I spoke to wasn't really of sound mind, if I may say so, because the shock and also the trauma of seeing people getting killed as you watch. I was actually informed that one of the persons was moved to Elwak Hospital out of shock,
Because
has
of the
been
trauma.
hospitalized, yes.
All right, unfortunately, we have to end this discussion here because of time, but thank you for making time to be with us. I'm Ogina, who's just returned from Mandera, and on that somber mood, we take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.